little brother. Hope you're a stunner, hot little figure. Yes, you're winning, and I'm so glad to be yours. You run class of your own, and hey, little cutie, when you talk to me, so it all works out. You're my sweetheart, and I'm so glad that you're mine. You are one.